Kubitza, and I'll be your host for today. I'm excited to talk about a topic that's fast growing and highly profitable, and that is children's apparel. Whether it's unique sayings or custom monograms and personalization, there's a lot of opportunities for printing children's apparel, specifically with the heat press. The heat press really opens you up to a lot of personalization, a lot of unique effects, and a lot of things that make children's apparel very lucrative, very popular, and very hot selling right now. And so we're going to cover a lot of those today. In addition to that, another thing that we're going to be covering is a lot of the basics when it comes into printing profitable children's apparel. One of those things is where to source garments. So we're going to give a few sources that we have found to source different garments, whether it's an e-commerce company or a stock wholesale supplier. So we'll share a few of those. We're going to share some tips for choosing the right material. For all of the designs that we'll be using today, we're actually going to be using a heat transfer vinyl. So heat transfer vinyl traditionally is a material that is cut on a vinyl cutter and then weeded away to create the design. This is the most popular method for custom printing with the heat press. Most people will own a cutter, whether it's a small cutter like a Silhouette or a larger cutter like a Graphtec or a Roland, custom cut these designs and then use their heat press to press them on. So we'll be focusing a lot on those materials. We'll talk about different styles, how to choose them so that they're safe for children's apparel as well. And then we're going to be doing a lot of hands-on demonstrations, so showing how to print different items. So if you're going to print a children's dress or a onesie or a hooded toddler shirt, how do you print those items successfully with the tools and the heat press that you have? What tools can I use to speed it up and make it a little bit more efficient? And then we'll round it out with some different options as far as ways to sell the product, ways to show the product, and really kind of dive in a little bit more there. So we have a pretty robust class here today. I want to start by talking a little bit about where to source the blanks. Simply because with no blank, there's nothing to decorate. And so I think that's an important point to hit first. So a few of the places that we'd source garments from today, as well as a few additional ones. I'll go ahead and list them here. If you're not registered for receiving updates on the Stahls TV blog, on Monday we're going to be sharing out a blog on children's apparel, and it'll list all of these sources that I'm giving you here now as well. So you can go to stahlstv.com and register for the blog there. So where to source garments? The first few I'm going to look at are going to be more wholesale companies. So these are going to be ones where they're going to probably require a tax ID to be able to purchase these garments, but you'll be able to get a lower cost on the blanks that you're ordering by doing that. So we're looking at Sanmar, Alpha Broder, S&S Activewear, and S&S Activewear distributes a lot of different brands that we'll see throughout the class. When we move outside of garments that are specific to onesies or really small infant apparel, when we look at more toddlers, more youth, where there's a huge opportunity there as well, Cavio and Boxercraft both offer a lot of unique youth styles. Pima Apparel and LAT Apparel are two other ones that offer a lot of children's and youth styles as far as wholesale suppliers go. When I looked at e-commerce companies and some of the ones that we've used in the past, we were looking for things that are a little bit more boutique-y, a little bit more unique, to really bring that edge to children's apparel. So kidsblanks.com covered a lot of those. SassyKidsBlanks.com covered a lot. Blanksboutique.com also had a lot of unique, just seasonal, holiday, really trendy children's apparel items. And then don't ever forget about the local companies that are in your area, like craft companies such as Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. A lot of these stores are starting to source blank apparel items from onesies and kids dresses all the way up to beanies and all kinds of stuff. And so you'll find that we even use some items from those local stores that we can easily pick up and source there as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for sourcing blanks when it comes to decorating children's apparel. Once we have our blanks, the next thing is going to be the heat transfer vinyl. And so, like as mentioned in the beginning, we're going to focus on a product that's used with a vinyl cutter. For a long time, the products are still named heat transfer vinyl within the industry, but what we want to find a product that is safe for children's apparel. And with that, they're usually certified with what they call a CPSIA compliance. The CPSIA, which is the Consumer Product Safety Improvement Act, basically says that these products are safe to use on children's apparel that are below the age of 12. So just in case the children put the shirt in their mouth or something happens, this product is definitely going to be safe for you to deliver to those customers. And so it's really important to find a heat transfer vinyl that covers that CPSA compliance, and you can always find that on the website for the products that you're using or in their catalog if they have those compliances put in place for their materials. So I'll be listing a few of them here, and you'll see me use them throughout the class. All of these products are going to be available from Stahls.com. So CAD Cut Glitter Flake, CAD Cut Fashion Film, CAD Cut Glow, CAD Cut Adhesive and Foil, Glaze, and Hologram. And so we'll show them throughout the class, but just for a quick list as we're getting started, and we'll show them as we start printing the items. So I think it's time to dive into, we have garments, we have materials. I'll explain which ones came from where throughout the class and the materials, but I want to talk a little bit about printing those. So I'm going to head over to the heat press to do so. So for my first item, I'm going to be printing a standard onesie, and I'm going to be printing onesies a few different ways. Depending on the machine that you have available, this is the Hotronix Fusion, so you'll see me often use interchangeable platens throughout the class because this machine allows me the flexibility of moving out this platen and using smaller sizes, and that's going to help a lot with production friendliness and just increasing the production if I'm doing a lot of children's apparel. If I don't have access to changing out my platens, I'm going to use a couple of other accessories that will be helpful for printing these items. And so this onesie is actually a football onesie that was ordered from S&S Activewear. The brand is called Rabbit Skins. So it creates a nice fashionable piece. Now when I go to print a onesie like this, you may notice there's some seams, there's some snaps, all of that I want to get off the axis of the print, because my goal when I print any item, whether it's a small onesie like this or a larger shirt, is to get the item completely flat so I can get an even pressure. So I'm using a heat printing pillow. This is just a small heat printing pillow. It's a 6x10, so it works perfect for children's onesies. This one's a 12-month onesie, and I'm going to load that in there. This pillow will help to make sure this large thick seam or my collar aren't going to get into the way of the application on my transfer. I also am making sure those silver snaps are falling off the bottom of my platen, so they're not going to get into the way and scratch the top coating of my heat press either. Now when you add in a heat printing pillow, you may find that you need to adjust the pressure for that depth of difference of what you've added into your shirt there. Next, I'm going to line up my design and begin my application process here. I'm going a little bit lower since this one has a little bit of a seam below, so I'm going about 2 inches down on this specific shirt, which again was 12 months. When I'm sizing graphics for this size onesie, this one specifically being a 12-month onesie, I'm sizing them at about 5 inches by 5 inches. That's going to give me the box space that's going to be perfect for this size onesie. And as we pare it down throughout the class, you'll see the sizing may adjust or change a little bit. Now CAD Cut Glitter Flake that I'm using here in a single color design applies at 320 degrees for 10 seconds. Once that application's complete, I'll peel back that carrier, and we've got that really popular glitter finish on the item. And when you choose colors, if you're pairing together something like this, obviously being able to personalize children's apparel for sports or different items like this is very popular. A lot of people choose common popular sayings that are kind of trendy for this type of market, but the CAD Cut Glitter Flake comes in a lot of popular colors. And so when you think, well, you can't get into licensing and I can't add professional sports names or college sports names, if there's different teams that are in your area that maybe you're selling to, choosing colors that complement that. So if I'm choosing a blue onesie with a gold, maybe they have a local school like Michigan or West Virginia that have those college colors. I can do that and make the sayings there. So it's a clever way to get apparel that's going to be popular for a licensed market without getting in trouble with licensing. So that was our custom onesie. And one thing I'm going to focus a lot on towards the end when we talk about packaging items and selling them is being able to pair them with additional items to really maximize the sell. And so I'm going to show printing two different items. One's going to be a personalized beanie. The other is actually going to be a pair of leggings that can be personalized and added to the sell. So I'm going to start with my leggings here. I'm going to line them up on the top of my heat press. I'm going to grab that same heat printing pillow that I had used earlier, that same 6x10. And I'm just going to add two little monograms onto the bottom of these leggings here. Now you may be able to see, but the text here is actually very, very fine. I'm using a script monogram, and so that script detail is very, very detailed. So I chose to use CAD-cut fashion film. As I start to use monograms throughout the class, you're going to notice that I'll use a product like CAD-cut fashion film when I have very fine detail for children's apparel, because it's going to allow me to weed these very fine script lines, especially when I'm getting to a small text like this. It's only 1 inch by 0.75 inches, so very small detail there. That's what's nice about having a sticky back material like CAD-cut fashion film. It's also safe for children's apparel. I'm going to go ahead and preheat these just to remove some of the moisture and wrinkles. Keep in mind that I am using the heat printing pillow to avoid the thick seam here. My design is going to butt up right across there, so I'm worried about getting inaccurate pressure in some certain areas, so I want to try to avoid that. I'm going to line this up with the football, that way when they're worn on the little girl that they'll be able to pair, they'll be able to be worn in the correct direction and not be off center. I'm going to go ahead and cover with a cover sheet. Cover sheets are always great to have on hand just to protect the item from sticking to the top of the heat press. And then I'll apply for the recommended application. Now CAD-cut fashion film is going to apply for 15 seconds at 320 degrees. So the same temperature I was at for that CAD-cut glitter flake. I could certainly have paired glitter flake on these socks as well. The problem with the glitter flake is I wasn't able to get that very fine script detail that was needed for the monogram with that product, and so that's why I went ahead and swapped over to my CAD-cut fashion film. So we're adding a little bit of personalization there on those items just to add that little bit of monogram on them there, and they'll kind of cool down a little bit. We'll give them a little bit of time to do so. I can now easily pair these up with the onesie and create a nice extra monogrammed look to pair and add some personalization. It's very inexpensive, and we're looking at the cost of material for CAD-cut fashion film. We're looking at about $0.01 a square inch. So to customize with something like this, I'm looking at about 20 cents in material for my monogram, adding a little extra time for labor, and it was very fast and easy to add this personalization. These were specifically picked up from Hobby Lobby to pair together with that onesie, but you could certainly pick up these anywhere at any local retail store. They're very popular and sold on a wide variety of e-commerce companies as well. So I'm going to set those aside and move on to my beanie. Another popular item to pair together with onesies, especially if you're selling to kind of the newborn personalized market there, and they make a great item for gifts. Now when I go to personalize a onesie or a beanie, what I'm worried about here is trying to line it up center. So what I've done is I've taken my beanie and I've rolled it the way that it'll be worn on the child. And then I'm going to take my design. This is a 2-color design, but I'm going to use the whole thing to make sure I'm centered up where I want to be on the beanie. Now I can't press this completely like this because I would be concerned with getting accurate pressure because of the thick seams caused on the side when I've rolled that. So one trick that I use to make sure it's centered and in the right place and going the right direction when it's flipped is to line everything up. This is CAD-cut fashion film again, so I'm getting that able to cut this fine detail. And it's also got a sticky backing, so if I press it down in place, it'll hold. Now I can go ahead and flip this inside out without that moving. Lay it completely flat and add my personalization going the correct direction. This way will ensure I have a nice flat surface down here on the bottom. If I'm worried about this being very thick up here, I can pull that off from my platen and go ahead and press my blue material. Now CAD-cut fashion film does allow me to do a fast tack on the first color, so I can simply tack that first layer for 2 to 3 seconds. Adjust my pressure there a little bit, it was a little high. Peel back the carrier, and now I can inlay my top layer. When you start to do mixed media, which we'll do on a few different designs, this will really help to make it easier for you to line up your graphics. Just dropping in that bow there. You'll also notice that my carrier here from a top layer is actually cutting through the design. With matte finishes like this on heat transfer vinyl, it tends to show a carrier mark. So I'm going to cover this just to protect the blue part that's exposed from sticking to the heater. And do that same tacking method again, so just 2 to 3 seconds. This way I don't have that carrier mark on my completed design that can make it look less professional or less high-end. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. Cover that back up, and then seal it for the full application. Now if you remember, glitter or fashion film requires a full 15 seconds at the 320 degrees. So I'm just going to make sure everything gets those full 15 seconds by sealing it for that final application. Now once that's complete, I could take the beanie, I can flip it back inside out and roll it up to expose my completed design there. So nice, easy personalization. I can then pair that up with the football onesie, or I can add it to the leggings as well for an additional option. So easy, fast way to personalize. I was already loading the material on to cut the personalization for the leggings. So again, very inexpensive using the CAD cut fashion film material. The next item we're going to look at is some personalization with a kid's dress. So same thing, this children's dress was actually just purchased from Hobby Lobby. You could purchase a lot of the kids' dresses that are really trendy and popular and have some different effects to them on a lot of those boutique sites I had mentioned, like Blank's Boutique, kidsblanks.com. But this one was a great option as well. It was very inexpensive. I think it was $5.99 from Hobby Lobby, so it gave me a good option for just a quick standard colored dress. Now when I go to personalize this dress, you may notice that it has a thick seam that goes across the center. This is something that we often see with children's apparel. So if I was going to add personalization into the center area here, I would certainly want to make sure that I'm using that heat printing pillow to ensure that I'm not getting any inaccurate pressure on the item and that my transfer is going to get that full pressure there. I'm actually going to just be applying it to a dress here, so I'm going to still use, or the bottom of the dress, just for some unique personalization, but I'm still going to go ahead and use this pillow just to avoid these seams and everything that are up here and towards the bottom. So again, loading in my pillow, I'm going to load up my transfer design, and since this is a garment that's going to be laundered, I definitely want to make sure to go ahead with the preheat. That'll also let me adjust my pressure if I need to for the pillow that was just added. So I've got that in there. Next, I'm going to line up two other materials. Both of them, again, are CPSA compliant and safe for children's apparel, but are going to give some different effects. I'm going to start, I have both the CAD cut fashion film and a product that's called CAD cut hologram. Fashion film, again, I'm going to use this product because as you're seeing the script on this monogram, which monogramming is very popular for children's apparel, is going to be very, very fine. And so weeding this out of a product like Glitter Flake or even hologram would have been very difficult. Fashion film is going to allow me to achieve that with this fine script. If I wanted Glitter Flake, I would just need to make sure to choose a thicker font for this process. I'm also going to be pairing that with CAD cut hologram, so I'm going to go ahead and apply my hologram down first. And I've cut this in kind of a faux rhinestone look, and so this gives me the appearance of rhinestones. It's got that iridescent shine to it, but it's not going to be near as expensive, and it's also still safe for children's apparel. I know a lot of people that do very small infant clothing are worried about doing rhinestones, and so this gives a perfect option for that. I'm going to go ahead and apply my CAD cut hologram down for its application of 10 seconds at 320 degrees. It's going to be a cold peel, so I'm going to have to let it cool down completely before I can peel that carrier back. One way that I do that is just kind of lift it up from the pillow. The heat printing pillows tend to hold a lot of moisture or hold a lot of heat down into them, so if I let it sit on there, it won't cool down quite as quickly as if I can remove it from the pillow. Once it's cooled down enough, I can peel back that carrier. And then I can inlay my personalized design here. And I chose a lilac color because it's very popular for this type of market, and for children's apparel, pastels, neons are both popular. Once I have that lined up there, I do want to cover and make sure that the hologram vinyl is not going to be not going to stick to the top of the heater if it's exposed to it. And then I'll apply fashion film for its recommended application of 15 seconds. Fashion film's a hot peel, so I can peel that back immediately. We got a nice, customized, ready to go kids dress. So again, I just added a little bit unique personalization to it. Down here at the bottom, this makes a great frame. So one of the things we see a lot with monograms are frames placed around them. This is great for customization, always nice for the holidays as well, because it kind of creates that wreath look. And the way that it's designed, if I wanted to, I could have easily also added a name or some other personalization up here at the top as well to bring some decoration up top. But this is a great way to add unique customization to a children's dress. So I'll set that one aside, and I'm going to look at some other opportunities. So far we've looked at opportunities with sports and really trying to leverage unique sayings onto items as well as packaging them together to increase the sell. We've looked at a children's opportunity that's very lucrative, which is just adding simple personalization to the item through monograms, through kids' names. And that's a really easy way to use your vinyl cutter and your heat press, and there's a variety of ways to do that. The other really lucrative opportunities with children's apparel are going to be holidays, occasions, birthdays, and so we're going to look at two different designs for those applications. Since Christmas is coming up, I'm going to look at a design specifically for the Christmas market first, and then we'll look at some birthdays. There's a lot of opportunity there with personalization as well as unique sayings. And so for this one, I'm going to be using another children's onesie, but I'm going to show another way to print these instead of using the heat printing pillow. Another big benefit, again, of this heat press is that it has interchangeable platens that allow me to get a flat, even print surface. So I'm going to swap out my 16 by 20 and drop in a smaller 6 by 10 size. If you're going to be printing a lot of onesies, this really can help make your machine more production friendly and help to speed up the process rather than playing around with the pillows and stuffing them inside, making sure they're in the right location. This way I can simply just take my onesie, load it on, and I've got my flat print area there. So this one that we're printing, again, we want to make sure the snaps are completely off, making sure I have enough space and that the shirt isn't loaded on crookedly. That is always one of the challenges with onesies, if you're using a smaller platen, or any shirt really, is making sure it's loaded straight. So I'm checking to make sure the seams all the way down are the same way. Because I've changed the platen and also taken out that pillow, I want to check my pressure before I do any applications, also checking to preheat there. And then I'll line up my graphic. Now this one specifically is going to be a 3-color glitter design. So the design is actually going to work together to create a multicolor glitter effect. And so we'll show you how to easily layer these that are trapped kind of together. For this onesie, which is actually a 0 to 3 size, I sized the graphic at about 4 inches by 4 inches. That's going to give you your spacing for the design there that's going to fit. So you want to be within that box of a 4 by 4. Also going to go about 1 inch down from the collar as I start to center up my design so that I can make sure that it isn't too far down on the shirt. For small onesies, newborn, 0 to 3, you're going about 1 inch down. For 6 months, you're probably going about 1.5 inches down. Always want to check the onesie that you're specifically using because sometimes manufacturers can make them in a smaller size. So I'm going to layer this green, red, and then gold and do it as a 3-step application. The first color, the green, is going to be applied for just 3 to 5 seconds at that 320 degrees. All I want to do is basically be able to tack that down so that I can get my other colors on and quickly and easily print this. Once I have the green, I'm going to inlay my red. And I've sized the red colors on my design to specifically fit in here so that you'll notice all the glitter colors, while they look like one image, they're actually all attached to the fabric. You want to make sure not to direct layer the glitter materials. They're not recommended for a high durability of 50+ washes when you do so. And so by laying them both on the fabric, I'll get that strong durability. Again, I'll tack the red for the same 3 to 5 seconds. Peel back the carrier. And then inlay my last color. Now this is the final color where I'm going to make sure everything gets the full 10-second application that's required for this print. Again, cover to make sure the glitter doesn't stick to the top of the heater. And finish out my application of 10 seconds. So by doing that fast tack, I'm able to really speed up a multicolored glitter design like this, just like we saw with the fashion film. Peel back that, and we have a completed 3-color glitter flake design ready for the holidays. So this is a perfect example of a popular design that you might see. Again, with the holidays, when we're looking at children's apparel, we see a few different styles of designs. We see monograms paired with frames, so we're seeing a holiday-inspired image like a elf hat here, or a Santa hat, or a wreath encompassing the monogram. There's a variety of places online, such as Etsy or other online companies, that sell vector artwork that you can purchase to create these types of prints with your monograms. Another popular thing that we often see is people taking this type of holiday and creating some unique sayings for children's apparel versus, you know, being bad for Santa and all kinds of stuff. So unique sayings is another opportunity, but personalized is big as well. And I can easily pair this again with maybe a custom tutu or a custom pair of leggings to really bring the whole thing together. And so that's a great look there on this onesie for a 3-color glitter flake. I'm going to set these 2 designs down. We'll talk a little bit about birthdays. And so birthdays in general create an opportunity for being able to really maximize what you're personalizing. This is going to be just a toddler's 2 t-shirt that we're going to be or a hooded shirt that we're going to be printing for a birthday. But when I think about birthdays, I start to think about decorating for the child, decorating for the parents, and really packaging everything together to try to maximize how many people are decorated together in a themed shirt. And so a lot of people have themed birthdays, and so there's a lot of opportunity in printing themed shirts as well as custom shirts for birthdays, maybe with a name included on them as well. For this, I'm going to swap out my 6x10 platen, and I'm going to drop in a size that's an 8x10. Again, the same principles apply. If I don't have interchangeable platens like I'm seeing here, I could certainly go ahead and use a heat printing pillow. I'm actually pairing together 2 different materials on this shirt as well, though it'll look like one in the standard colors. So I've loaded my hooded sweatshirt on here. Again, what I'm trying to avoid with the pillow or the lower platen is any inaccurate pressure caused by these thick seams at the top or at the bottom. So I'm able to get that flat surface. This one specifically was purchased from S&S Activewear. It's another Rabbit Skins brand hooded sweatshirt. It kind of has that really trendy, distressed look that we're looking for. I'm going to check my pressure there and make sure I've got an accurate application by adjusting the black knob on the top of my heat press. And then I'm going to line up my design. And so as I mentioned, this is going to look like a 1-color image. This is actually basically a 2-color design that's been printed with CAD Cut Glow and CAD Cut fashion film. And so the white part is fashion film. The number 2 sign here is actually going to be CAD Cut Glow. And so if the party's outside, this is a fall party, maybe it's going to go a little bit late, then the children's shirt is actually going to glow with the number 2 and create a unique effect with CAD Cut Glow. Again, that's another product that's going to be lab certified to be safe for children's apparel, so this gives an opportunity for another finish that's a little bit more masculine than the hologram and the glitter flake that we've looked at. So I'm lining up my largest part of the design first, the CAD Cut fashion film. That's going to make it easier to line up the second part. I'm going to tack this for just 2 seconds since I'm using that fashion film product. that has the fast tack application. And then I can inlay my CAD Cut Glow. If the carriers didn't overlap, I could certainly apply these all together, but for me it makes it easier to kind of register and line them up if I do them separately, especially since fashion film only needs that 2-second tack, so it's not a large increase in the application there. Cover that up with its cover sheet just to protect the fashion film from sealing. And I'm going to apply for a full 15 seconds. That'll make sure that CAD Cut Glow, which needs 10 to 15 seconds, and fashion film get the full application that they need, since fashion film needs 15 seconds. As we're looking at this design here, I do want to mention the sizing for shirts, such as a toddler shirt like this, which is going to be a 2T. For any toddler apparel, you're looking at about 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches for your complete design space. And so with that, you'll want to make sure that you're within that grouping to be able to size it correctly for this. I went 2 inches down from the top of my shirt for my sizing, or for my placement, and create a really unique, popular saying shirt for a birthday. Now, of course, I could easily add a name underneath here, maybe Brody or Michael or somebody's name underneath here to add a little bit more personalization as well. That's your choice if you want to decide to offer that or just stock designs for your customers, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the selling portion. So my last two designs are actually going to go together, and we'll talk about these in ways to package and sell, but there's a lot of opportunity when you're starting now to sell into the children's apparel market with what they call mommy and me shirts, or package shirts. So being able to take a design and create a unique saying that kind of goes with a mom and a son or a daughter for them to wear together. The big benefit of this is now, instead of just selling one custom shirt for a child, you're also selling a shirt for the mother as well, being able to just up the price and the amount of profit that you're making off that one sale. So we're going to show this pair by printing both a toddler t-shirt. Again, this is a size 2 shirt from Rabbit Skins, ordered from SNS Activewear. And then we'll also look at it on an adult shirt as well for the mom. So I'm going to take my toddler shirt, since I have the 8x10 loaded in here, and I'm just loading it on the platen. Of course, when I do this, I always want to check and make sure when I use smaller platens that when I load it on, I have the same amount of material all the way down, so I know my shirt's not loaded on crooked. Once I do that, I'll check and preheat to remove some of those moisture and wrinkles. And then I'm going to line up the design that goes on my children's shirt. So for this, I chose a unique saying, and I just went with a baby bear. As I'm sure you can see, the mama bear is going to be on the mom shirt, and I can press this for its recommended application. This product is called CAD Cut Glaze, so it actually goes as low as 265 degrees, also goes as high as 320, so I can go ahead and heat press that in its application for 10 seconds. I'm set at 320 degrees currently for this shirt. Since it's just a standard 100% cotton shirt, it's easy for me to go ahead and just do that. CAD Cut Glaze is actually a translucent metallic material. So you'll notice how much more vibrant it shows up over this black color than it does on maybe a silver or a white or a lighter shade. And so this gets a really nice metallic finish that's soft and durable on the children's apparel. So it's a cold peel. I'm going to let it set aside and cool down, and then after I press the mom shirt, we'll take a look at both of them. Now for the mom shirt, I am going to swap out my interchangeable platen and bring back in my 16x20. When I'm sourcing garments for this type of application, I'm looking for something that's a little bit more trendy than a standard just 100% cotton shirt. This is actually going to be a flowy tank, so it has more of a loose sleeve here down the side. It's more fitted, more slouchy in the way that it would fit on the wearer. I can easily load this onto my 16x20 platen, since it's a larger cut shirt, even though it's a medium, and print and get the full application. Now these shirts that are traditionally, this one's actually from Bella Canvas, so they're sold as well from SNS Activewear, but a lot of these more trendy garments you'll find today are heat sensitive in that they are made of a tri-blend fabric, so something that has maybe some rayon or some viscose throughout it that makes it heat sensitive. So this is where a product like CAD Cut Glaze is really ideal, because I could take the temperature of my heat press all the way down to 265 degrees and avoid any additional scorch marks from having too high of a heat on this garment. Dial in my pressure right, since I had changed back to my 16 by 20 platen. And then I'm going to go ahead and line up that CAD Cut Glaze product. With my adult shirt, I'm going more about 3 inches down from the top of the shirt here, making sure again I'm centered in my design. And I'm going to apply glaze for the full 10 seconds. We'll give that a little bit of time to cool down completely before I peel it back, but while we're waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and bring back in the toddler shirt and start to peel that back and reveal that real soft, unique, metallic effect that we got there. And so it really creates a unique foil, especially on the dark black color, using that gold to get that print. And so being able to use a metallic really just makes this more of a trendy, high-end piece. Of course, I paired the moms with a trendier black garment, so both of them just help to make a high-end look. And again, I'm safe to put this on children's apparel. So we've got Baby Bear. Let's pull Mama Bear back up here and see if she's cooled down enough. Looks like she's just about there, so we'll start to peel here. And again, I'm getting that real soft, lightweight effect. That's also nice for some of these more fashionable garments that are really lightweight. So we're able to take these two and pair them together just to create a really cool packaged option for Mommy and Me shirts. And there's a lot of unique ways to create sayings using these types of printables. So being able to package together one for the child, one for the mom, even one for the dad if you want to do that, and be able to sell more to every customer. And you'll find a lot of people really right now, especially on sites like Pinterest and Instagram, are really starting to leverage these because they like having the idea of matching their child or having that kind of pair twinning look. And so this is a great way to capitalize on that need. I'm going to head back over to the table and just kind of recap and talk about a few additional things for selling and some tips there. Take all my shirts with me. And then of course, if we have questions coming in, we can take those as well. So if this is your first time attending one of our webinars, there's a on the right hand side of your screen there is a question box, so you can type in questions there. Joe, have I gotten any questions so far?
Yes, Jessica would like to know, what is the construction of the beanie that you did earlier? Is it a normal knit kind that you see during the winter?
Correct, yeah, this is just a standard knit 100% cotton beanie. So there's no acrylic to it, which makes it able to be printed. It's not real heat sensitive.
Laura says that she's worked with the glitter flake and she knows it's not recommended to layer glitter flake on top of glitter flake. But what is the experience with layering glitter flake on, say, fashion film?
You can easily layer glitter flake directly onto fashion film. You won't have any issues with durability. It'll still withstand that long life cycle. So no problems there. Easily go ahead and layer.
And then just finally a comment from Kristen, who says that she decorates her family shirts for her daughter's birthday every single year. It's Camp Petkus. I hope I said that correctly. And she also makes it the party favor then for those who attend the party.
So that's another great selling point. So we appreciate her sharing that tip. I always love to hear ways that people use these products. So being able to sell birthday shirts, selling not only just one, but giving them an option for having some to give away as parting favors as the people leave as well. So that's another way to sell an additional, for my family, it's like 35 shirts. I have a large family, so a simple birthday party gets pretty big. So that's another great option as well. So just additional tips for selling and some things to talk about. So I talked about packaging, and we shared a little bit there with the birthdays and the events. There's a big opportunity with being able to look outside of the traditional shirt. Yes, somebody may be coming to you and all they want is a customized shirt for a holiday, but being able to look outside is, what else can I print for this customer? So packaging together this with maybe a shirt for the mom or a shirt for the sister or something else where you're selling more items personalized. And adding that personalization element can always sell more because each one is unique. That commands a higher selling price. that makes it more unique because you add additional items into the package. But when you're using heat transfer vinyl, other than a little bit of time to create the different text, there's not a whole lot of labor that's additional when you're adding that personalization. So I definitely recommend packaging together where you can. When it comes to choosing designs, so when we look at the unique designs that we had chosen, you can choose to sell in 2 different ways. I'm either going to choose on my through my website or how I'm selling to go with unique sayings. So if you want to go with unique sayings like we saw with the baby bear and the mama bear shirts, and this is kind of the route you want to go, then you just want to choose a handful of unique sayings, maybe swap them out so often. So if you have seasonal sayings, maybe for the fall that say, "Happy Fall, y'all," or something like that, that shirt you would have available for maybe a 2-month period, and then once they're gone, they're gone. So it's kind of a seasonal item, and you can swap out your unique sayings. So I would choose 5 or 6 unique sayings that I want to sell or packages I want to sell, pair together the blanks with those, and I'm just going to sell those as is. So the standard is you get this black shirt with this gold print, and these are the options that you have available, and you may sell more than 5 or 6 depending on the capacity that you have to print and to stock items to sell and to ship. If you're looking to do full customization, then this is where you can get creative with saying I can completely customize your shirt with your monogram, your design, your child's name. And so that's another option and another way to sell as well. There's a lot of ways to do that and ways to market that, either one, especially in the children's apparel realm. And so we see a lot of products being marketed on both Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest, being able to leverage that social media aspect and promoting the products that you're creating. And so when it comes down to that, it really comes down to showing what you can create, making sure people have an access to an e-commerce site or something to be able to purchase them. Maybe you just have them call you based on your Facebook page if you don't have an e-commerce site set up, however that works. But one really important thing, and we shared this if you follow our Stahls TV morning show this past week, is if you're getting into using social media as a tool, which it certainly is for this market. This is where a lot of people get their ideas, and even it's a great place for you to get ideas for new custom shirts. But this is where a lot of people can stand out for their brand. And so being able to take photography or take photos of these garments that are high-end, so they're laid out in a nice flat method, the lighting's good, there may be just more of a premium, high-quality photo, not just something that you had taken really quick inside your shop to show it. Having that high-end that looks like a photographer took it. It doesn't always have to be a high-end camera. It's more or less in the way that you choose the lighting and the way you lay out the garments that create that look. And so that can go a long way if you're using social media, and as you should be, to promote these products, especially with Pinterest and Instagram. For selling these products, there's a variety of ways to do so. You can set up your own website and e-commerce site. A lot of you may have those set up already. If you're not into setting up your own site, you don't want to have to have a host website, then I would look at using a third-party site like Etsy. Etsy has a lot of benefit, and even if you have your own website and selling, simply because they have their own tagging system. A lot of people are accustomed, especially if they're purchasing children's apparel, to automatically go to Etsy to search. So they kind of bypass Google if they're looking for custom children's apparel, and they go directly to Etsy to search for products there. So I would go ahead and set up an Etsy account. It's fast and it's easy, and start uploading those photos. Again, use those same high-end photos that you're using in social media. And then you can tag your images as well. So using the correct keywording for custom children's dress, custom holiday shirt, tagging it with children's apparel and tags that you think people will be searching for. So custom monogram shirts, holiday apparel, children's apparel, birthday shirts, all those types of tags that you can use. That way, if someone's searching for your product, then your products start to come up in that searching realm. And you want to do a little research as well. There's a lot of research on Etsy that you can find if you're looking to sell that way. But do some research on what other people are selling their product at if you're using it on a marketplace, their turnaround times, and things that can make you competitive and stand out if you're selling in a large marketplace like that. So those are some tips that I have. Joe, have I had any other questions come in throughout the session?
There's just one more from Evelyn. She'd like to know if you could discuss the cost of the finished design, not including the garment, but just the design itself.
Yeah, the cost of the finished design will vary depending on the material that you are using. And so let's go ahead and go back through some of these designs. I'll separate them out so I can walk through them. So the first design we did was CAD Cut Glitter Flake on the football onesie. Anytime you use CAD Cut Glitter Flake, you're looking at about 2 cents a square inch for your cost of your design. So if I'm looking at about a 5x5 design, here I'm looking at, do the math with me, Joe, 50 cents in material. Math isn't my strong point. So I'm looking at about 50 cents in material, 2 cents a square inch on my 5x5 design here with 2 twos and touchdowns. We talked a little bit about the personalization cost here on these monogrammed leggings. With those, I'm looking at 20 cents in my cost of material. Fashion film is always going to bring me in at a penny a square inch for my full cost of design. For my beanie, again, I'm looking at a penny a square inch for my design here. This one I would probably cost out to be about 30 cents because I've got the 2 colors to include here. You may want to also include some waste into your design if you want to figure that out and how that kind of fits in there as well to your artwork, depending if you're using scraps. If you're doing small personalization like this is where you can have a lot of benefit of saving the scraps from other jobs to quickly load in and be able to add these small personalizations without having to use a full roll or a full sheet of material. Next, we looked at a 2-color design pairing together CAD Cut hologram and fashion film. So again, CAD Cut fashion film, I'm looking at about a penny a square inch. So with this one here, I would probably be saying about 15 cents and just the cost of my design. Of course, if I'm adding in some extra waste, I would want to account for that. I'm looking at about 2 cents a square inch for my CAD Cut hologram, about a penny and a half to 2 cents. So for easy math, I'll go ahead and go with the 2 cents a square inch. Looking at this one, which is about a 4x4, again, I'm looking at about 32 to 35 cents in my square inch costing. All right, after that, we also looked at some holiday shirts. So this was that 3-color glitter flake. I'm looking at about 2 cents a square inch if you remember the glitter flake. So 4x4 roughly. It's actually a little bit shorter, I believe, in a 4x4, but again, you're looking about 35 cents and cost of material for this one with CAD Cut Glitter Flake. My fashion film and glow, both of these are going to bring me in. Fashion film is going to bring me in at a penny a square inch. I'm looking at 2 cents a square inch for my glow here that's going to glow a bright, vibrant lime green when the shirt's done. So cost-wise, I would be looking at about 30 cents for fashion film. And then for this little design here, I'd probably be looking, I'd say safely, at 15 cents. So I'm looking somewhere around 45, 50 cents for my full artwork here. So far we're seeing all the customization has brought me in under $1 just for the CAD Cut vinyl. You always want to include your cost of labor and overhead. CAD Cut glaze is going to bring me in at about 2 cents a square inch. So with this product here, I'd be looking again another 50 cents for my cost for this part. And then when I pair it with a Mama Bear shirt, which is going to be a larger design, I'm probably looking with this one much closer to the $1 mark since this is a larger design for a lady's garment. But for children's apparel, we're seeing a lot of easy customization, very inexpensive, high profit opportunities. So we're seeing a lot of ways to take that vinyl cutter, take that heat transfer vinyl market, and make it very profitable. If costing CAD Cut is a concern of yours and you're wanting to always find quick ways to take your designs and price them out, always remember on stahlstv.com we do have a custom CAD Cut calculator. So you can go under the resources page and download that cost calculator. It completely walks through square inch pricing, adds in your cost of labor as far as weeding and heat applying, and gives you a complete cost. So it's an incredibly invaluable tool to have access to when you're pricing out jobs like this. Have I had any other questions come in throughout the end? Okay, perfect. So stay tuned to Stahls TV for additional live classes. Subscribe to the blog to get more information from this class. It'll be out on Monday. And then also make sure you download that CAD Cut cost calculator if you have questions on pricing out your designs. Thanks for attending.